Okay, I had to go out there and respond to this article after I saw the title. It's kind of an alarming thing. You know, I don't think it'd be incorrect to say so, but at the same time, I feel like it is sort of hyperbolic and clickbaity. Yeah, you know, as a guy who does clickbait for a living, I feel like I can smell it when it's in the vicinity. And that's sort of what this article is, but at the same time, there is some genuinely intriguing content in here. So let's go out there and talk about the Red Wings, shall we? Because there was a period a few weeks ago where the Wings were one of, if not the hottest teams in the NHL, and it was a really great time. Hey, they're stringing together these victories, and they're going to find themselves in the playoffs. It was going to be a really big deal for Detroit to finally squeak back in after missing out on the last day last year. And for a team that was so good, they inevitably started to falter down the standings, and it's been really bad ever since. The Red Wings, in this recent stretch of play, are, what are they, 2-8-0 in their last 10? They've been plummeting down the standings. They're still above 500, but have been quickly passed by teams like the Rangers, the Islanders, the Blue Jackets, the Habs, and the Sens in that wildcard race. At this point, if you head over to moneypuck.com, you'll see that the Wings have a very slim 8.6% chance of making the dance. I think at this point, we can kind of conclude that it's not going to happen for this team. Now, the article that we're going to talk about is going to be linked in the description. Alongside of our ExpressVPN affiliate page, this show is brought to you by Express. Check out that first link in the description to save some money on your VPN, get some free months, and support this YouTube channel in the process. But also linked in the description is this piece from Bob Duff earlier this morning. An alarming confession from Red Wings captain Dylan Larkin. Yeah, it is kind of clickbaity, but you know what? We'll respect the clickbait and we'll go out there and read it as it is. Detroit can't seem to stop the bleeding, Duff writes. The article goes out there and talks about how goals are going in the net in bunches. The Wings are falling behind. Then, instead of digging in and fighting back, the Wings just keep on surrendering goals and digging the hole they're in deeper. You better believe it's worrisome. Yeah, it is, Captain Dylan Larkin admitted. What's even worse is that the team knows that, and yet they don't seem to know what to do about it. We've talked about it a lot, and to be honest, we haven't come up with a solution, Larkin said. That, in itself, is the alarming confession, quote-unquote, that Bob Duff talks about. And ultimately, you know, it's a small sentence. It's Larkin saying, yeah, we don't know the answer. That's it. That's the video. I hope you enjoyed. Such that Troll 99 and bye. We can end this video off right now just by getting that information across, but ultimately, it does feel kind of bizarre to hear a player so openly say that, yeah, we just don't know what's going on. We don't have an answer. Sorry. I get that he's not being as complacent and dismissive in that sort of a tone, but still, D. Lark's going out there and saying that the Wings are just suffering and they don't know how to come back from it. Like, yeah, of course, that's a red flag. You don't want to see anybody go out there and say, oh, we don't have the answer. But at the same time, I mean, if Larkin went out there and said the opposite, hey, we actually know what we need to do, we're just not doing it right, does that feel better? I don't know. At some point, you got to start thinking about whether or not the Wings have the will or the way. You know, they say they work hand in hand. Where there is a will, there is a way, but it seems like the Wings just don't have either at the moment. As exemplified by the 2-8-0 stretch, they can explode for goals sometimes. Sometimes. It happens, right? 7-goal games against Buffalo. Fantastic. But it's not really an indicator that the team is back or that they're doing all this stuff. And now that we had seen yesterday that Soderblom and Gustafsson, some of these guys are out, it's not gonna be easier. Let's continue with this article, by the way, because there are a few extra things written about by Bob Duff in response to Larkin's comments. They don't have the solution. They talk about it, but they can't figure it out. The problem, Duff writes, is that the Wings are in the game. Then a bunch of goals go in their net in short order, and the game is out of reach. Detroit opened a 4-game road trip on Tuesday at Washington, deadlocked 1-1 entering the third period. The Wings coughed up 3 goals in the span of 7-11 and wound up losing 4-1. That was the 6th time in the club's past 10 games that they allowed a number of goals in rapid-fire fashion. In their previous loss, the Wings fell 4-2 to the Hurricanes after allowing 3 second-period goals in 12-18. A prior visit to Washington saw Detroit ahead 2-1 after the second period, but the Caps netted 4 goals in 9:28 and won 5-2. A 4-2 home ice loss to Utah saw Detroit allow 3 unanswered goals over the last 2 periods after fashioning a 2-1 first period lead. Also at home, a loss to Columbus resulted in the Blue Jackets scoring 4 second period goals in 10 minutes and 45 seconds during a 5-2 win. And the Lightning potted 4 first period goals in 13 minutes while whipping the Wings 6-3. Yeah, when it's written out like that, you start to realize this is definitely not a one-off. It's been happening a lot over the past few weeks here. But ultimately, like Larkin said, how do you fix that? Is that a will or a way problem? Is it an execution problem, or is it a mindset thing? Is Todd McLellan's coaching just wearing off? It's Derek Lalonde time now, one more time in Detroit. I don't know. I think the team's playing better than they did under Derek Lalonde. They're watchable to some capacity. Maybe spare the few minutes in a period where they let in 4 goals. But ultimately, the Wings have the talent. We know they can be better than what they have shown. It's just ultimately a question as to how to dig that out of them. Do they need a full offseason's worth of Todd McLellan instructions? Hey, next season when we come back, we're going to focus on this, this, and this, so you need to work on this, this, and this in the offseason to train your body for what exactly it is we're planning to do here. Off-season conditioning can be helpful, especially when it comes to a coach learning what his team is capable of and understanding what each of his guys needs to work on individually, giving those assignments and expecting those to be fulfilled over the summer. Who knows if the Wings are going to explode right out the gate in the 25-26 season, if they can become a wildcard team next year, and whether or not a full year's worth of coaching under Todd McLellan is good enough to fix that. We always said, right, if the Wings just fired Derek Lalonde earlier, they probably would have had a much better opportunity at doing what it is they needed to do to stay competitive and be that team. But ultimately, I digress. We can end this video off here. The rest of the article on Detroit Hockey Now just talks about the playoff race. It talks about the stats and the numbers and all the teams around Detroit that are going up and up in that wild card. This is where Larkin speaks at the end of the article. I just think when you don't have your A game and you're not going to every night, you've got to find a way to shore things up. And the next 5 minutes, play hockey and make sure nothing happens. And we did it in Ottawa, a 2-1 loss. We did it against Vegas, a 3-0 win at home. We've shown we can do it. We just have to do it a lot more. They're a younger team, right? Especially under Todd McLellan. You can say that the average age of the team definitely isn't like young. Larkin's not too young. Tarasenko's not young. Kane's not young. Petry's not young. But they're a team that is in the process of growing together and getting better and just kind of evolving. So maybe this season and the way things have gone the past few weeks is a reminder that things still need to improve and that the journey is not over yet. Thoughts in the comment section below about the Red Wings and Dylan Larkin's alarming confession as talked about by the article's title. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.